Welcome back, everyone. Oz here, and today I've got some r/am I the asshole for you all. As per usual, I'll be reading the post, giving you my thoughts and opinions, and I hope you do the same down in the comments below. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. Emily, but with ones instead of L's. Am I the asshole for not letting my coworkers stay at my place even though I have the space? So I, 23 female, live alone in a small 2-bedroom house. One room is mine, the other one is basically my everything room. It's my office, my closet, storage. Sometimes I just lay on the floor in there and stare at the ceiling when life sucks, lol. It is not a guest room. I've lived with horrible roommates before, so I worked really hard to be able to afford my own place, and I love having my space. It's literally my safe little bubble. Anyways, one of my coworkers, 25 female, got into a huge fight with her roommates and they kicked her out. She was venting at work and I felt bad and was like, "That sucks, oh my god," and even sent her a few places to look at. I was trying to be helpful without inviting chaos into my life, you know? Later that night, she texted me, saying, "Hey, I was thinking maybe I could just crash with you for a few weeks since you live alone and have the space?" I literally got that sinking feeling in my chest. No. I'm not even close to her. We're cool at work, but we've never even hung out outside of lunch breaks and complaining about our boss. She doesn't know anything about me, and I don't know her like that. Why would she live in my house? So I replied super politely like, "I totally get that you're going through it, but I really value my space and I'm not in a place where I can have someone stay with me." Like, I was nice. Didn't ghost her, didn't ignore her, just said no. Next day, she's acting really weird. Then another coworker tells me she said I let her be homeless when I have an entire room to myself. Like, girl, first of all, she's staying at her boyfriend's place. Second of all, I pay to live alone. That's the whole point. I don't want to feel tense or uncomfortable in my own space. I don't want to tiptoe around a person I barely know. And I definitely don't want to deal with just a few weeks turning into "I'm looking but nothing's coming through yet" for 2 months. Now people at work are acting like I'm the bad guy. Sorry for not letting a coworker move into my apartment because she had a bad fight. I don't know. I feel bad, but also, no. Am I the asshole? Update, she went to jail, lol. Don't know what happened, but I feel horrible to say I laughed. Well, that solves that issue. Edit, because I have to highlight my favorite comment. Go up to the people that had something to say and tell them they are horrible for not bailing her out. It's actually a wonderful point, and a problem that we've encountered several times on this channel, where someone's very quick to cast judgment on you for not being extremely charitable towards someone, but did they give that kind of charity towards that person? No. They are more than willing to throw the stone into the river, but shriek and holler when the stone's thrown at them. Suddenly, all of their excuses for why they can't help out are valid, but yours, oh no. You're just a horrible person with a sense of entitlement. Honestly though, the only reason why I could possibly consider OP to be the asshole here is because they didn't share why their coworker went to jail. Other than that, they're totally in the clear. That was a joke, by the way. Old Bookstore 1900. Am I the asshole? Told mom she can bill me using the tuition money she stole from me. When I, male 33, was preparing to go to uni, my mom confessed that there was no tuition money for me. Through the years, my dad would give her cash to deposit, but she only did the first one. She spent the rest. To be honest, I wasn't even surprised. I was used to being disappointed by her. She promised that she would pay me back and asked that I never tell my dad. So for 4 years, I thanked them for the tuition money while I took out loans. For reasons to do with her narcissism, I have an arm's-length relationship with her. But she would say we're pretty close, as she assumes my smiling and nodding while she drones on about the same stories is a relationship. We have a family cottage that she puts above everything else. She lives there about 90 days of the year. I've been going there with my girlfriend for about 4 days for a couple of summers, which she begrudges as it takes away from her time. My dad supports me going, which is how I pull it off. She recently told me that it was time for me to start paying for some of the maintenance on the cottage since I use it. She actually suggested $1,000, which is wildly disproportionate. I told her she could take it out of the tuition IOU and we could negotiate the amount with Dad. She was speechless. She texted me later to say that it was manipulative to bring up the tuition and to threaten to tell Dad. It went on and on. I've been thinking about it, and first, I'm hurt/offended that she can't just do a nice thing for me. She has to get something for it. Second, I guess I'm not really over the whole tuition thing. Would I be the asshole for bringing up ancient history and not paying her for use of the cottage? Edit to add, at the time, it never occurred to me that I should have told him. I thought I was doing the right thing by protecting both of them. That pretty much summarizes my childhood. Without a doubt, Mother's the asshole in this scenario. Definitely the kind of person that they'll manipulate you to hell and back, and they'll try to squeeze you for every dime you can possibly give them, but they feel like they're entitled to take as they please. They'll pay you back when they feel like it. But for them, if they give you any kind of help or any kind of assistance, you better pay them back immediately, or else they're gonna raise hell about it. Sounds like that's the kind of person OP's mom is. And honestly, while it might be difficult to have the conversation several years later, it's probably worth telling your dad what exactly happened, that you had to take loans out because of your mother's selfishness. And while I can't fully put it into words, and I hope maybe someone might be able to properly explain it, I understand why OP didn't tell their father. I understand why they quote-unquote protected their mother. Perhaps it's something I would need to explore in therapy, but I do understand and sympathize why OP made the decision not to spill the beans. Whether or not OP decides to finally divulge his mother's secrets and actually put her on blast is entirely up to him. I personally think he should, because his mother kind of fucked it over and tried to brush it under the rug, and definitely manipulated and/or gaslit him into believing that he should have to protect his mother from any kind of consequences that might come and just simply take it on the shoulder and call it good. Meanwhile, almost 10 years later, he probably hasn't seen a dime of it paid back to him. And now that he's using a cabin that just happens to be his mother's, she wants $1,000 for 4 days. Yeah, I think OP's in the right here. Whether he chooses to leverage or to expose, that's entirely up to him. But definitely not the asshole. Progress Dependent 703. Am I the asshole for calling my husband a disgrace after he said my miscarriage ruined his birthday? Content warning for loss. I miscarried yesterday afternoon about 12 p.m. I've never had a miscarriage before, and this baby was so wished for, so it's all so fresh, and I'm sobbing right now, so I apologize in advance if it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. My husband turned 27 yesterday. I, 26 female, was pregnant with mine and my husband's, 27 male, second child. Yesterday, I was 8 weeks pregnant. The day before yesterday, we saw a beautiful heartbeat flicking on the screen, and today, I'm devastated. I was playing with our 2-year-old when I felt a pressure in my lower abdomen. Not long later, I noticed bleeding, and I let my husband know immediately that I had discomfort and bleeding. Before long, I had passed what I believe is the fetus, and I messaged him, "I think I lost the baby." I wanted to keep him updated, and I guess I was seeking some kind of emotional support. I asked if he could come home, and he said, "Of course, if it's urgent." I said I think it is, because the pain and bleeding is getting worse, and I'm starting to feel lightheaded, and our 2-year-old is unattended in his playroom right now. We have no friends or family near that I could call who would get to us quicker than he could. I had to clean myself up, crawl downstairs to take paracetamol, make my son his lunch, and then put him down for a nap. At this point, my husband still isn't home. He was working approximately 30 minutes away and took closer to 60 minutes to get back. Hours later, when I asked, it was because he'd stopped at Tesco to pick up some beers. I ended up very poorly, losing lots of blood, lightheaded, vomiting, etc. And he had to take me to A&E. By the time I was discharged, it was almost 8 p.m. Last week, I had said I'd make him his favorite dinner for his birthday, which he reminded me when we were almost home. I said I wasn't feeling up to it, and that whatever takeaway he wants is on me. He said, "For fuck's sake," under his breath, and then muttered something along the lines of, "This bullshit has ruined my birthday." He didn't stop to get any takeaway, he just drove straight home. He put our son to bed and I went to bed, and I'm not sure what he did after. I didn't see him this morning as he had already left for work. He's not messaged me all day, and he got home a few hours ago. It's now 8:40 p.m., and he's been giving me the silent treatment. I tried to speak to him about an hour or so ago, and he ignored me, and I called him a disgrace. He slammed the bedroom door and locked me out of the bedroom. His mom has since messaged me and said I need to be patient, as he's also had a loss. She didn't ask how I was doing or anything. He's obviously speaking to his mom, but why isn't he opening up and speaking to me? She said I was harsh? I'm feeling utterly emotionally neglected right now. My body has been through emotional and physical hell. I understand that my miscarriage came at a fucking inconvenient time for him, as it was his birthday and all. I'm not sure if it's the hormones making me feel crazy, but is it nuts to contemplate divorce? Am I the asshole for calling him a disgrace? I had to disassociate a bit while reading this one, because as I'm sure many of you are aware, this is a situation that I am unfortunately very familiar with. I might sound cold while stating this, but I mean this in no uncertain terms. She should leave her husband. His response to finding out that his wife suffered a miscarriage was to stop at Tesco and get a beer on the way home while she was actively bleeding. Her life was at risk. That's not an exaggeration, that's not hyperbole, that's just the honest fact of it. Her life was at risk. And the husband's decision was to stop and get a beer. The husband's reaction was to be more focused on a birthday dinner than the fact that his wife just suffered an insurmountable loss. His reaction to this loss was to compare it as being a bullshit inconvenience than being what it was. Because not only did he find this to be a bullshit inconvenience, but he was also far more concerned with whether or not he would get his birthday dinner after his wife just suffered a tremendous loss of blood, almost passed out, had to take care of their toddler while she was dealing with a miscarriage, and reeling from the mental and emotional blow that all of this surrounding them had just caused. Everyone grieves differently, sure, but this isn't grieving as his mother seems to be attempting to imply. This is more akin to a toddler throwing a tantrum because Chuck E. Cheese was closed on his birthday. He showed his true colors, and whether or not OP is able to forgive him, that's entirely up to them. Whether they're able to look past this, that's their decision. Personally, I don't blame them if they're never able to look at their husband the same way again. And I certainly don't think they're the asshole for calling their husband a disgrace for his reaction, because it was disgraceful. It was honestly revolting. There is far more that I could say, but I'm going to choose not to for my own well-being. OP deserves the emotional support they need, they deserve a support system, and they certainly deserve better than the mother-in-law and husband they found themselves attached to. Good luck, OP, and my condolences for your loss. Dwells in low light. Would I be the asshole for telling my housemate to stop ordering DoorDash? Reddit's deemed this person the asshole. Let's explore. This is complicated, so bear with me. I, 45 female, am a single mom, a full-time college student, and I own my home. At the end of last year, a friend, 35 male, reached out to me because he was in dire straits. He'd been laid off from his job, tech industry, ran out his severance package, and his unemployment was almost up. His lease on his apartment was up at the end of the year, and he wouldn't be able to afford to renew. So I offered to let him move into my office for $300 a month, to cover his utility usage while he tried to get back on his feet. I also said he's welcome to eat dinner with us any time I cook, most nights, and anything else he wants to eat, I will get with the groceries if he Venmos me the cost. As soon as he moved in, he started ordering DoorDash, and then got a part-time job delivering pizza. He still does not have a full-time job in his industry. I feel like I made him a pretty solid offer, and ultimately, the goal was for him to leave cheap and save his money. Instead of eating with the household and contributing to groceries, he's got into a habit of ordering DoorDash sometimes twice a day. He's spending significantly more on takeout for himself than I'm spending to feed the whole household. I know he's his own adult, and I don't have the right to control how he spends his own money, but at the same time, I feel like I'm making sacrifices to provide him a home, and while I don't expect anything extra in return for that, I do feel like the premise of him being here is based on him saving money, which he's clearly not doing. So would I be an asshole if I told him to stop ordering takeout and eat from the kitchen instead? Edit, fix a typo. Edit to add for those commenting about local rent, we're in Austin, Texas. Oof, that's expensive as hell. So in my opinion, this is both a yes and no. I think that if OP just out of context told their roommate that they can no longer order DoorDash or they think they should stop, I think without the full picture, they would be the asshole. But I think the issue here isn't the DoorDash, and it's actually a larger problem. That being that OP is making sacrifices, and despite what they said, they are expecting something in return. While it may not be something that is given back to them, they are expecting their roommate to take steps to get back on their feet. And by the roommate ordering DoorDash, it's almost as if they're taking advantage of OP's generosity with only paying $300 a month for essentially just the living expenses. So I don't think the problem is the DoorDash. I actually think the problem here is that OP feels like they're being taken advantage of by the roommate because they're giving them a pretty cheap and comfy gig, but then seeing them turn around and just order a ton of DoorDash. Even if OP isn't expecting anything in return for their sacrifices, they're still feeling like they're being taken advantage of. I think OP needs to approach this as they can clearly afford to either pay more per month for their place they're staying at, or find their own apartment. Delivery is expensive, and when you're being offered essentially a place at a table with a home-cooked meal, and even that they'll grab you groceries as long as you Venmo them a little bit of money, that's a really good deal and far, far cheaper than DoorDashing twice a day. So I certainly don't blame OP for having these feelings. It really just comes down to how they approach it. Which, that being said, what do you think? How would you approach this? Do you think OP should just start with the DoorDash and cut it off, or do you think they should try to find the root of the bigger problem and go for that right out the gate? T Brownie, am I the asshole for kicking my house guests out 11 hours before their flight is scheduled to leave? My friend and his wife had made plans to visit us this summer for a weekend stay. The flight is 2 hours, so not really a long journey for them. We have our home professionally cleaned regularly and go all in to be good hosts for our guests. However, with any good thing, some people try to take advantage. I usually will take an extra day from work after guests leave to get rest or even tidy up the house a bit. It's just a peaceful time for me to return to the normalcy of our household after being in host mode. Before my friends booked his flight, my husband let it slip that I will not be working the Monday after my friends stay with us. Next thing I know, my friend tells me that they will be flying out on a red-eye the Monday I took off for rest. This means they will arrive early Friday morning and leave late Monday night. To that, I responded that I will be taking them to the airport as early as 8 a.m. Monday morning so I can have my day of rest like I planned. My friend tells me that he doesn't understand why they can't just hang out at our place or have us show them around town more on that Monday since they have a late flight. I explained to them that the day off is for me to rest, not to continue to be their host. I told them that they're more than welcome to leave their luggage here if they want to explore on their own, but we will not be hosting them or playing tour guide after Monday morning. He goes on to admit that it was cheaper for him to book the later flight on Monday, and that it's not a big deal for him and his wife to just hang out at my house all day until it's time for them to fly out. Keep in mind that I will have to take them to the airport or pay for rideshare because he refuses to pay. I will also have to feed them. I told him that they are welcome to visit us and stay with us, but staying at our house all day Monday is not an option, and he needs to make other arrangements. Now he's accusing me of being a horrible friend, and his wife says we're assholes. Your thoughts? So, before I give my opinion, I want to actually, for once, take a look at some of the comments on this post just to kind of get a grasp on what some people are saying here. Posted by Tree Hugger Frog Lover. Keep in mind that I will have to take them to the airport or pay for rideshare because he refuses to pay. I will also have to feed them. No, you don't. You don't have to do any of that. And if you choose to, I think it would be a mistake. Simply tell them you are offering a ride at 8 a.m. and they can take it or leave it. If they don't accept the ride, you will be locking them out of your house promptly at 8 a.m. They will not be welcome back in at any point for any reason, and you will not be providing transportation past that time. They can decide if they want to pay for their own ride or just remain stranded in a city where they have no place to stay. Shouldn't change your plans at all either way. Edit, for everyone responding saying this is so rude and they wouldn't be my friends anymore after, that's kind of the point. My friends don't blatantly insult me and disrespect my time, effort, and money. If they did, I wouldn't consider them friends. I wouldn't want them in my home. So you can stop responding that I'm a horrible person with no friends. I'm happy with my friends, because they'd never do this. Worth Season 3645. Not the asshole. He refuses to pay for a rideshare? Oh, no, no, no. Not only would I stick to my boundaries, I would also tell them you have fed them for the weekend and hosted them. They can figure out their own way to the airport. And it may be no big deal to them to stay at your home, of course not. They think they're at a hotel. It is a big deal for you, and if I understand correctly, this trip did not even happen yet. It's for this summer. Well, guess what? They just lost their free place to stay. No one abuses my hospitality and calls me an asshole. OKC 4405. Everyone sucks here. Your friends are not being unreasonable by asking you to spend Monday with them or just let them hang out. But they are being unreasonable by not taking no for an answer. But you sound like the least gracious host in town. Like, why have people visit if the thought of spending 12 extra hours with them causes you such trauma? Using the term loosely, of course, it shouldn't be traumatic, but you're making it so. You sound exhausting. Otherwise abroad, 959. You're the asshole. They shouldn't feel entitled to your time or transportation, but intentionally taking them to the airport as early as possible and expecting them to sit there all day is an asshole move. There should have been a lot more communication involved in the planning process, but I would never want my friend to sit at the airport for hours so I could rest. I wanted to get a good mix of comments in there of both, not the asshole, you're the asshole, and everyone sucks here, just to kind of get a good feel of where people were coming from. In my eyes, the guests are the ones in the wrong here, because they heard that the wife was taking the day off and they immediately jumped, without asking, to move their flights to that Monday and just assume that they would be continually welcome there, without any kind of prior communication. They invited themselves to stay at OP's home longer, and additionally, they're refusing to pay for a rideshare, which certainly only adds to my issues that I have with how OP's friends are acting here. What I will additionally add is that as someone who is introverted and has to recharge my social battery, I 100% understand needing that extra day to just recover and rebuild and get yourself flipped over back into a new gear change so that way you're ready to get right back into your regular schedule. Not everyone needs that, but some people do, me being one of them, so I understand needing that additional day. And if I don't have that additional time to recover, my entire week is gonna be fucked. And it's not that it's traumatizing, as one commenter put it, it's just the fact that having that additional day to change gears is sometimes needed for people. Like, yeah, I love hanging out with my friends, but it's still a draining thing on the mind. And it's certainly not fair for OP to make the plan to have that day, for the husband to slip out the fact that that day's gonna be off, then for your guests that are supposed to be coming over and leaving Sunday night to then change their flight to then be Monday. That's not fair. They put themselves in this position without any communication with OP. And additionally, they're not taking no for an answer. OP did explain to them that this is a day for rest for them, and that if they really want that Monday night flight that they scheduled without consulting OP, they should be aware that the house will not be open for them. So, in the end, the friends are certainly the asshole, and I could definitely see an argument for some wiggle room that OP could be the asshole. In my opinion, I understand where OP is coming from. I also don't fully agree with any of the comments that I read. I only added those in there just to add some additional perspective. I also feel like your opinion on whether or not OP is going to have any part of being an asshole entirely depends on whether you're an introvert or an extrovert. So just from an analytical standpoint, I'd actually be really curious if you could include that as part of your reasoning too, if OP is the asshole or not in this scenario. But yeah, give me your thoughts, give me how you feel about it, and if I miss something, please let me know. I just ask that you be respectful about it. Afraid Mammoth 5574. Am I the asshole for laughing at my stepson and ruining his wedding? Throwaway, shortened for character count. For context, I've been married to my husband for just over 20 years. We started dating when my stepkids were 5 and 3. Our kids are Adam, 28, stepkid 1, Ben, 26, stepkid 2, Charles, 20, David, 17, and Ellie, 13. Adam is getting married at the end of summer to his fiancée Alice, 27. We've all been very excited for them. All of the kids have roles for the wedding. Charles is the best man, the other 2 boys are groomsmen, and Ellie is a junior bridesmaid. Last weekend, we had a dinner for my husband's birthday. All of the kids attended along with Alice. The topic of the wedding came up again, and this is where it started to go downhill. Ellie brought up that she was so excited to go dress shopping and that we planned to go to a bigger city in a few weeks to get her a dress and me, a stepmom of the groom, a dress. At that, Alice looked at Adam sideways and responded that we only needed to worry about one dress. Ellie's. Ellie kind of laughed and said, "What are you expecting Mom to wear? A suit?" Alice responded with, "My name isn't going. You know we are keeping our guest list very limited to only family and a few close friends." What? Adam and Alice have been to our house numerous times for holidays, dinners, just to say hi since they've been engaged. This has never been brought up. Pretty quickly, things escalated. The Cliff Notes version is that Charles asked them to clarify if they were choosing to uninvite me now or if I was never invited. Alice confirmed the latter. Why? Adam said it's because I'm not his mom. Charles, David, and Ellie argued with Adam and Alice that none of them were going to go if I wasn't invited. That it was cruel to leave me out given I've been his parent for a majority of his life and loved him like my own. My husband and I admittedly sat there for a minute, just fucking shocked. Adam finally turned to my husband and said, "Well?" My husband told him he wouldn't be going either. Adam then turned to me and asked if I was really going to let everyone ruin his wedding on my behalf. Here's where I might be the asshole. I just laughed. I don't know what came over me, but the entire thing was just so ridiculous that laughing was the only thing I could get out. I told my husband I'd be waiting in the car and left, and then promptly bawled my eyes out. Anyways, Charles, David, and Ellie are not talking to Adam. Adam called my husband yesterday to try and smooth things over. He was still adamant I'm not invited and it's their wedding. He also requested I apologize for laughing at him. My husband told him tough shit. It's their wedding and they can invite whoever they want, but they can't control who will actually go. He said they owe me an apology and that Adam should be ashamed of himself. I'm getting texts now asking what the fuck I did and why I'm being a step monster and ruining the wedding. Am I the asshole? So because the first sentence where OP mentions they shortened it for the sake of the character count, I wanted to see if I could find more information from OP, and that's what I did. In the comments. Fancy and Fab comments, "I feel like there's a lot missing here. You've been married to his dad since he was 8. That was years of elementary, middle, high school, college. 20 years. Is his mother living? Did his fiance influence him? Just seems odd to not invite his dad's wife of 20 years and call her not family. I don't think you're the asshole, but I just want to know more about the past 20 years. OP responds, "I am sorry. I had to cut a lot out for character count to post. When Adam called, my husband did ask him if I had done anything. If it was related to Biomom. She has never gotten along with us. If I had overstepped in any way. Adam says no. It's just they want family only. Stepdad is invited as far as we know. I was a stay-at-home mom for most of my stepkid's childhood and we had 50-50. My husband has always worked a lot, but has always been as involved as possible. The house and child rearing mostly fell to me though. I love our kids to pieces. I thought we had made it clear from the beginning that I am/was another parent that loves them, not a replacement mom. We've never had any issues and I thought up until now that we were particularly close. Our communication has slowed since he met Alice, but he was calling me about once or twice a week prior to this. Alice and I have gone shopping on occasion, gotten lunch. I even went with her to the florist for the wedding because her mom wasn't available and Adam got called into work. There has to be something/someone causing an issue and my husband and I are baffled. So, I was looking for any kind of signs of this being a missing reasons or anything along those lines, but stepdad being invited. Stepmom went with the fiance to go to a florist to find flowers for the wedding, and according to OP, Adam denied that nothing had happened that would cause him to want to uninvite the stepmother. Stepmother even had a relationship with the fiance beyond going to the florist of getting lunch, going shopping together. Hell, Adam used to call her once or twice a week. So this doesn't give missing reason vibes, unless this is just a really good elaborate lie. Which then makes me wonder, what's going on? If everything is as truthful as OP has presented it, I'm going with not the asshole. Now, if I'm going to tinfoil hat theory this on what I think happened, there is a throwaway line in OP's comment where they say she has never gotten along with us, in regards to the bio mom. If I'm going to roll the dice and make a guess, I think the bio mom may have given Adam an ultimatum. Either I go, or the stepmother goes. Not both. Adam chose his biological mother. That's my tinfoil hat theory to explain what's going on here, but what do you think is going on? I'd love to hear in the comments. Don't forget, this is brought to you by GamerSupps. Use code ODDS at checkout. It's basically a caffeine powder that you put in your water, and I actually really like it. I use this on a daily basis. Don't forget that every purchase you make using code ODDS directly supports the channel. And if you want a personal recommendation from me, I would either recommend the Soda Pressing Pear or Dragon Fruit Punch. Those two are currently my favorite flavors. And as a note, once we sell a certain amount of stuff, I get my own flavor and my own cup. And you all know I'm gonna choose some degenerate shit that's gonna make their PR team squirm. My goal is to make them regret partnering with me. So please, use code ODDS at checkout to make my dream come true of making a PR team squirm.